education, therapy, and support are critical for children and families affected by disabilities. We'll talk to Eileen Wilkins, President and CEO of UCP of Central Florida, about how the nonprofit is providing those services and more for free. Next on UCF Metro Center Outlook.
This program is made possible by funding from the UCF Metropolitan Center for Regional Studies, where government leaders, business executives, and academic experts come together to discuss major issues facing the state of Florida.
Hello everyone. Welcome to UCF Metro Center Outlook. I'm Diane Trees, Director of the UCF Metropolitan Center for Regional Studies and your host for Metro Center Outlook. For more than 60 years, UCP of Central Florida has served children and families in what has grown to include 6 service centers in Orange, Osceola, and Seminole counties. We'll talk to the nonprofit's leader, Eileen Wilkins, about advocacy, fundraising, and the innovative inclusion model taught in UCP schools. But first, let's take a look at how UCP of Central Florida is helping adults with disabilities find their niche within our region's workforce.
To me, the mission is to be able to serve a multitude of disabilities. As you saw in our school, we have kind of a broad range of disabilities, from physical to cognitive disabilities. But to be able to effectively serve them and meet all of those needs, I think, takes some degree of skill and specialization. And I think that would really encompass what the mission is to be good at meeting the needs of multiple learning type or learning styles.
Basically, our focus here in UCP, it's academic content, but also focus on the job environment and transition.
Because when I came in here, I didn't know how to read, nothing. But now I know how to read a lot better. That's all thanks to my teacher, Mr. B.
In this whole job interview thing, what do I have to do?
Dress nice and neat.
Dress nice and neat? Like right now?
Yes.
We do work in job interview skills, resumes, and we do all that. But we also mock different places like a restaurant. We have a vocational lab. We have all the tools, and tools that we didn't have. We have such a good administrator that he gets everything we need. And we're preparing them. For example, we had the TLA restaurant. They were our waiters, and they did all the skills that a regular waiter does. And we even test them, and we video record everything. We blog, we sit down with them, and we discuss the video. So it's no longer you as a student trusting what I say because I say it. No, it's about you and me sitting down, looking at that TV right there, that computer, and saying, you see, this is where you went wrong. You should have done this. I like the way you did that. I wasn't expecting it, so congratulations. It's about us being proactive instead of being reactive. And I think that's mainly the focus of UCP TLA High School.
I would like to work in the computer place. I like to work on computers. The computers are really easy for me because I can use the mouse to move around the computers, and they're really fun.
I strongly believe, and Dr. Bruce does so too, that it's not about having a disability. It's about they are people with a different challenge.
Joining me now to discuss advocacy and awareness is Eileen Wilkins, President and CEO of UCP of Central Florida. Eileen, welcome to the show today.
Thanks so much.
You've spent nearly 30 years working with education and nonprofits. How did your involvement begin?
Well, I started when I was 10. I actually started working, I was a student at New York University and worked with Girl Scouts as a volunteer. Actually ran an inner city Girl Scout troop, and then was hired by the Girl Scouts, and that's how I began my nonprofit career, directing troop services. We started very cool events like having a camp out on top of the Empire State Building.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, with UCP, you've seen a lot of changes and growth. You started out as a center director, I believe, in 1995. Can you talk a little bit about that growth?
Sure. When I came as a center director, I was hired. We had a very small center. We had 3 classrooms. We served about 100 children in one location. And through the years, the CEO at the time, Ripple Dillon, was very visionary, and I had some great operational experience, and we worked well together, and kind of developed the program, expanding not only the ages of the children, but the scope of services and the locations. Today we serve about 2,400 children. We have 6 locations and serve children from birth all the way through college age.
I noticed that you had such a wide age span there. Why cover so much?
We really were starting to reflect the need of the population. When I came to UCP, we really predominantly served children birth to 3 in an early intervention program. And as the needs of the children grew, and the parents asked for us to consider older grades, so for a long time we became sort of a specialist in pre-K and kindergarten. And then about 2 or 3 years ago, when we opened our most recent campus, we actually worked into the elementary model.
Well, the needs are always there at the different age levels as well. I would think that when a family first gets a diagnosis of a child with a disability, the isolation, they must feel isolated.
Right.
How does UCP foster a sense of community to help those families?
Right. One of the things that we like to think we do is really provide support to that family, because as you indicated, it's a very challenging time for a family. You know, nobody expects a child with a disability, and it changes every part of that family's life, from the mother and the father, the siblings, the grandparents, and
the impact is on everyone in the family.
It's really global. And you know, one of the things that we really try to do is holistic approach, where we have at each of our campuses, we've got somebody that can, you know, provide some additional support. We have a licensed mental health counselor on staff, a school social worker, and they work with the families to provide support groups. They provide trainings, and then just sort of somebody to listen to and kind of navigate through that system.
So you're actually ministering to the whole family.
Yeah, and that really is important, because that the impact of that family and the ability for that family to become engaged and to help their child is really actually speaks to the success of that child. That parent, you know, we may be part of that child's life for, you know, 5, 10 years even, but that family is going to be, you know, forever. And it's important for the family to understand the child's needs and to become an advocate for that child.
And you said the word holistic. That's exactly what I've seen from looking at your website. You have an integration of therapy and education under one roof. How does that work, and why does it work so well for you?
We do use an integrated model. Our education programs are charter schools, and they go again starting from 6 weeks all the way through high school. But we also have a therapy program, physical, speech, and occupational therapy. And those therapists work with the teachers to integrate therapy as part of that classroom environment. Not all the time, but many of the times the classroom becomes kind of that learning lab. So the therapist could work with the teachers, give them advice. The teacher could maybe give them some hints to the therapist on, you know, really your child works better in this type of setting. And it really works well to be able to reinforce each other's goals and to work together as a team.
You opened a 35,000 square foot new facility just recently, and I understand that it allows you to offer so many more programs. Was that something that you had in your mind as a dream when you took over as president in 2002? I'm sure that took a lot of planning.
Yeah, I was going to say,
effort.
no, I wish I could say yes. We had this 20-year plan that we're working on, but you know, again, as the different needs came up, really, we actually started that campus on the east side of town at UCF in the early childhood building 10 plus years ago. They had given us some space. We eventually outgrew that and went across the street to a shopping center. And the waiting list grew to about 150 students. And at the time, you know, our board said, you know, we wanted to, you know, we definitely wanted to expand. We knew there was a need. We also wanted to start to look at some different models of providing services, as well as older children. So we were very blessed. We had some great partnership with faculty members from the University of Central Florida who kind of help with that vision. The other piece that we really wanted to be able to implement was using an inclusion model where we had students with and without disabilities.
And you're a longtime advocate of inclusion. And that was unique about your program. I saw that you had a segment of students with special needs, and then you also have students without any disabilities.
Right.
And I would imagine that's a challenging way to run a school,
Right.
but the benefits for the students.
Right. Well, it is. I mean, it's right now we're about 50-50, 50% students with disabilities, 50% without.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's been a a process through the years. We began inclusion. We have a lot of young teachers and various professionals, and they wanted their children in our program. So that became kind of the beginning of our inclusion. But as we went through and certainly learned more about the benefits of inclusion, not only for children with special needs, but for children without special needs, it was something that we all felt like we could be part of.
And what are some of those benefits for both sets of, well, for all the children?
Right. I think the thing for all of the children, and not just the children, but the family members, is the idea of creating a different kind of community than most of us were part of. Most of us didn't have children in our class or friends with special needs. It was, they were different. They were, we didn't even really understand the children back then.
Well, it's different.
Right. It was different back then, and again, not in a blame world or whatever, but the idea is that these children really, at a very young age, I mean, the school starts at 6 weeks, they grow up with each other, and they don't see
the distinction.
They don't see the
and
difference.
the
And for us, frankly, the fact that they think it's no big deal is actually the best celebration of all. That it's not like, oh, we're being extra special because that child has a disability.
No, that's the norm for everything.
Yeah, and they are very natural, and they help each other, they support each other. But it's not just a child with a disability that's getting the quote unquote help. Children with disabilities, as you can imagine, have special skills and special talents, and they may be the best reader, for instance, in the class, and can help a child without
someone who's not reading as well.
And that's one of the things that we really are trying to do, create that different community and different mindset. So in 10, 20 years, these students that went to school with a really smart, funny guy in a wheelchair, when somebody comes to hire, they won't even think. Well, they'll remember that child that was smart and funny, and absolutely will be looking at things differently.
Your website indicates that you have an integration of arts and technology, and that's a key part of your curriculum. What are you doing that's so unique with that?
Well, again, I'm not sure how. I would like to think that we do all these unique things, but I think a lot of what we do, is done in various other places. But I think one of the things that's been unique is for us to kind of pull it all together. We use arts and technology in an integrated fashion where it's not just a discrete subject. The children don't go to art class. I actually had a visitor this morning, and we were looking at some of the paintings the children did, using an artist and kind of emulating what he was doing, and looking at shapes and sizes. And again, using that whole arts to learn the curriculum. They do.
So with math, with geometry, with shapes.
Right, exactly. So it's visual arts, it's also performing arts. They do shows. Recently we had our big gala, and a group of the students performed at the gala. We had Dan Aykroyd as one of our co-hosts, and they did Shake a Tail Feather, dancing and singing, and again, it was just using that whole experience, because as you know, all children learn differently. And some children, the idea of it being very hands-on, and seeing it and being part of it, it really helps reinforce their learning.
So it's a good mix with that.
Yeah.
You talked about the gala that you had. I know that Cheryl Hines, an actress, is a graduate of UCF.
She is.
But she's also a longtime advocate of UCP. And she said that until a disability hits home, most people don't even think about life with a disability, what it's like.
Right.
How can we improve awareness?
Right. I mean, I think that, again, support of agencies and programs like UCP, I think the idea of just becoming part of that community and not thinking it's such a big special deal, I think that, reinforces that notion.
So that we all have talents and places to fit with
Right.
things. You mentioned the Bales campus on the east side of town, and I know that you partner with the University of Central Florida.
Yes.
How important are partnerships for you to be able to offer the programs and services that you have?
Absolutely. I mean, partnership. I wish we were in a position where governmental funding supports everything we want to do, but we're not, from a financial but also a resource support. So we again have been very lucky to have the University of Central Florida partnerships, other community, other corporations, other agencies, and really want to and we use those relationships, whether it's a student doing doctorate research in our facility, to a professor doing a class in there, to looking at how we can take this model, enhance it, expand it, etc.
So you really are a part of the community in a lot of different partnership ways, and not just in an academic side. I noticed a lot of other corporations that partner with you as well.
Yeah.
You've worked with hundreds of families and that along the way. Is there any one that always seems to come to mind or is there in your thoughts?
Well, again, I have been very lucky to have, watched many success stories and life-changing moments for families. In my earlier days, I had one of the little boys that was a near drowning, and I think one of the misperceptions of UCP is a little bit because of our name that we only handle or work with children with cerebral palsy, but we work with children with all kinds of disabilities.
You have a multitude of disabilities.
Right. Yep.
Yes.
And this little boy had a near drowning and was, his name was Danny, and they had basically given his mom a prediction: he's never going to move, never going to walk, never going to talk. And she originally didn't even want to come to UCP because her son didn't have cerebral palsy, so why would she come? But a friend convinced her to come, and he was about 16 months old, and he really was in a really bad state. But just through our therapy, through our education program, and I still keep in contact with the mom, and he was out getting his driver's license, and
amazing.
And it was just now Danny's out picking up girls, and the little boy they said would not talk and walk, and so you think of those and those impact, and you realize the difference that we can make.
Well, and as you said, you handle many other types of disabilities other than just cerebral palsy.
Right.
You mentioned again, tuition is free for eligible students at your UCP schools. I know public funding covers a large part of the expenses, but you also privately fundraise.
Right.
How important are those private dollars that you bring in?
Right. Well, as a charter school, tuition is free for children kindergarten and above, also for younger children that have an IEP, an education plan, special needs for pre-K and below. But that really only covers somewhere between 80 and 90% of the cost. So our fundraising is very, very important. Again, we're very lucky. We've got some great events that we've had. We just had a Kiwanis golf tournament yesterday that raised some funds to expand to our fourth grade for our Bales campus.
Excellent.
And so we really do depend on our community support.
I was reading that 87 cents of every dollar goes back into programs and services.
Right.
And you told me that it's even been better now, 89 cents. How are you keeping your costs low enough that you can plow this money right back into the programs?
Well, it's, again, I think it's challenging, and one of the programs are most important, of course. So our administration is very low. It's, as you indicated, about 11%, and that is a very from a benchmark point of view, it's an incredible number. But it also, we feel the pain. Many of my administration staff are doing multiple jobs and doing, working long hours and all the rest. So, I wish we had a great formula of what we did. But unfortunately, what it's done is it's put a little more burden on my team.
Right. You have over 300 team members with that. How do you make that fit? Because you have to have special people with this. How do you make that fit to match your mission and the characteristics of the school?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that when folks come to visit us, I think they can look at our staff and know such passion and commitment that they have, and it's hard to find that mix, find that somebody that keeps that mission, and it's hard work. I've spent a morning in a classroom, and
teaching
I'm
is
ready.
hard work.
Yes, it is, and I'm ready for a nap by noontime. And our teachers are the most incredible, hardworking staff. I think it's kind of funny. We do a monthly orientation, and one of the questions I asked was, how do they find out about the job? And one of the things that I've been very happy with is hearing how many are self-referred from other team members, from other parents. And I think what that does is, it kind of keeps that same culture. They can tell them, okay, it's a wonderful job, but you need to know it's going to be this too.
There are a lot of rewards, but there's a
lot
lot of effort that goes into it.
Yeah.
You've had a long career, personally and professionally. Children have played an integral part in your life. What have you learned from the children?
What do I learn from the children? That anything's possible, and children are incredibly resilient. And
so there's happiness.
There's happiness, and again, I think that's another thing is, oftentimes we'll invite folks for a tour, and they'll say, "Oh, I don't want to come. It's going to be so depressing." But it isn't. It's a celebration. It's a celebration of the successes of the children, and it's not a place where people, feel sorry for each other. They rise above. They accomplish what they can accomplish, and sometimes the success might just be a small, a step. But that's a great success for that child and that family. And we need to appreciate everyone's success and measure everybody based on their own path of success.
I think we should all appreciate celebrations a little bit more for the good things that all of us have that come along. You have one staff member for every 4 infants. You have 2 instructors for every 16 to 18 classroom size. You offer education, therapy, services. How are you blending so many diverse aspects of what you do together?
Right.
It's just, you have family fun nights, you have camps.
Yeah, it's, I think, again, the dedication of the staff and one of the things I like to think our staff are very good at is kind of being creative and thinking out of the box. One of the interview questions I often ask folks, I said, there's 2 different personalities, and one is not bad or good, but one is somebody who likes to come into a place and here's the book and here's how to do everything, and we'd like you to just keep doing it that way. And the other way is you come in and you have an opportunity to create. If you're the first one, you're going to be really miserable because we're looking for you to be part of the creation. And I think one of the things our team members will say is that they get to have an idea and get to create and actually implement it.
So they're being innovative as well as the children being innovative.
Right, exactly.
Yes, very good. Eileen, what is your vision for the future? What would you like to see for special education in Central Florida?
Well, inclusion, as you indicated earlier, is a particular passion of mine, and I think I would love to see more inclusion and more folks realizing that it's not, quote unquote, that rocket scientist, as the kids would say. It's something that can be done. It's challenging and it's hard, but it's doable, and the rewards and the differences of society that we can make, is worth that.
Yes. Thank you so much for being on the show, and thank you for the work that you do.
Thanks, Anne.
I've been talking with UCP President and CEO Eileen Wilkins about the nonprofit's role in guiding young people with disabilities. Thank you for tuning in to UCF Metro Center Outlook. Until next time, I'm Diane Trees.
This program was made possible by funding from the Metropolitan Center for Regional Studies, where government leaders, business executives, and academic experts come together to discuss major issues facing the state of Florida.